Hey, it's Thursday. It's part 4 of Leading Our Own Way with this week's guest, Holly Smith. If you've tuned in for the first time, I'm interviewing the author of the book 30 Days to Happiness. Absolutely incredible read. Link is in the show notes. But today's episode, we talk about when we dive real deep into the journey of finding purpose, something I love. As you all know, I've written a book about how to lead with purpose, but we go a little bit deep about finding purpose, and with Holly sharing insights from her business adventures, including her online personal training business. We explore the heavy toll of chronic stress and how what it takes, how it affects and takes on our emotions and even our organs. A topic I'm excited to keep diving into, that's for sure. Holly also opens up about the power of forgiveness, as she highlights in her book. It's a particular day and a particular part of the book she goes into, which I absolutely love. Something I, like to work on too sometimes. And how defining personal values is key, absolute key to creating lasting happiness. This part of the conversation is packed with wisdom you just won't want to miss. So, welcome to part 4. If you've missed the first few, though, please go back, subscribe. Of course, don't forget that. But go back, watch part 1, 2, and 3. The YouTube episodes are split into 5 parts and they go out daily. So keep coming back because we'll finish off with the final part tomorrow with Holly Smith. But for now, part 4, here we go. From our pre-chat though, you mentioned your purpose growing up was quite heavily involved in horses and being on the land that you were on. Where did that tend to go wrong?
Yeah, so when I was, I think 15, 16, something happened within my family, and then we had to move off our family home that I grew up in. And that was like all my horses. So we just had horses for a bit, I had to sell a few, and then we found out that one of my current project horses that we were going to sell and, put all this work into had this thing called kissing spine. I couldn't ride him anymore. We had to put him down. It was like honestly the saddest thing ever. And then I found out one of my other horses as well passed away because he wasn't looked after properly, and it was just so sad. I actually didn't eat meat for like 2 years after this, and I lost like 10 kilos because I was so depressed and sad. So yeah, that happened, and yeah, I just felt like my purpose was stripped away from me because they're such spiritual creatures. That was my outlet. People go to the gym, or go to counseling, or they go for walks, or they talk to friends, or that was my outlet, and my outlet was stripped away from me. My whole childhood home was stripped away from me. All my animals were stripped away from me. And my purpose was stripped away from me. And I was like, well, now what do I do? And I remember my auntie, like, we were at the restaurant that my dad owned at the time. She's really good. She like sat down with me, and she got a napkin and wrote out like some ideas of like what I could do with my life, because I was just so confused after that. And then she helped me really understand, like, real estate, fitness, which one am I going to go into, and then did the real estate thing. And even though I still love property, it just wasn't for me. I really love fitness. So that's when I built my personal training business, where I'd knock on people's doors at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, get up, let's go. And then again, I got burnt out again doing that. And then just when COVID started, I had no idea what online personal training was. Had absolutely no idea. I remember booking in the sales call from a Facebook ad for, scaling your online personal training business. I had no clue what it was. And I asked him, I was like, what's online personal training? Like, oh, you give programs and everything online. I was like, what? I was so naive. Wow. And then he said, oh, hey, this is the price for the mastermind. And I was 18 or 19 at the time. And he was like, oh, it's $2,000 a month. I was like, oh, okay. No. He called me up a week later saying, hey, do you still want to be knocking on doors at 4 o'clock in the morning for the rest of your life? And I said, no, I don't. And I signed up. I had no clue how I was going to pay this, but I did. I paid for 38 months, $2,000 as an 18, 19-year-old girl, and I did it. And you know what? It's allowed me to build a large online fitness business and the brand that is now turned from BizFit to 30 Days to Happiness. So here I am.
I'm always skeptical when I have to start paying things every month like that. And obviously it panned out for you. Did paying that much, did it really Did it really give you the tools of what it was set out
Yeah,
to do?
yeah,
Wow.
it did. But I mean, that's not the case for. I've spent a lot of other money on masterminds and stuff that, I think a lot of the time people give you too much stuff to implement and you don't know what to do with it. But if you're hungry enough and
Mm.
it's new to you and they have a proven system, it's going to work. You just have to put in the execution, right? And that's when what I do is that people can have all these tools and all these shiny objects. So, people have all these shiny object syndrome and they'll do this, they do this to build their business and buy all these courses, but nothing gets executed and they're still always stuck back at square one. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's not until they start executing and building it with the accountability that, like anything, got to be hungry to change, really.
Yeah, I'm going to share an equation that I learned from Jim Quick. Have you heard of Jim Quick?
Yeah, I love you.
Limitless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he talks about motivation, and the equation would be purpose, P times E times S3. So purpose times energy times small simple steps being the S3. And
Mhm. I
I always
like it.
kind of keep that in the back of my mind. I understand my purpose. I think it's fairly evident I have the energy, and I've taken very small, simple steps, and I've not killed myself. Like, it's only last week I only started to learn about SEO.
Yeah.
So I've started to optimize my YouTube channels, and I'm currently going back to all of my channels, first episode that I did 6 months ago, and I'm doing the SEO work on them to hopefully get them into the algorithm a little bit better. So
Yeah,
I,
your
and
YouTube is awesome. I went to your YouTube. You got heaps of subscribers.
yeah, no, look, yes, but even I'll be open and honest about it. I've set promotions on Google for that. So does it mean they're all authentic when you're paying? It's not that I've paid for them. I'm not saying they're fake. The videos have gone out and people have still pressed subscribe because they've liked what they've seen.
Yeah,
Yes, but would I have met those people organically with no SEO? And I wouldn't have done. So in a sense, I've paid promotions for that. So you're gonna see those subs slow down now because I'm working so hard on my SEO.
that's
I
cool.
want to reach the people it's supposed to reach, not because I've paid YouTube to push them out to people, right? So those
Yeah,
people who like what they've seen doesn't mean they're going to come back and watch my show. The question is, are they the right people? So yeah, got a great following on YouTube, but if you look at the views, yeah, I've got a few videos sitting at 5,000 views, 170 watched hours on a couple of videos. Great, but I want every guest to be able to give each of my
yeah,
subscribers something, and I think that's bringing maybe the Diary of the CEO mentality into it. And I did actually write a note about that about day 27 of your book you brought in, and I will get back to your story because I want to talk about your chronic stress, where your body broke down, because I think that's where we need to go. But just on that note of I can't even say it, procrastinating. Day 27, just do it. My example to that is I got on with I get distracted. So like the other day, I wanted to get on with my SEO, and I set the time apart. And I'm going to do this when I finish with you because I've got a quiet house till late this evening now because they've all gone back to the other side of the bay, and I love it and I can get on with stuff. But I'm doing my SEO and I get distracted by a video, or I get distracted because I need to do a story, for the episode that is going out. Why do I keep doing that?
Well, create an SOP for SEO. This is what I would do is create a system operating procedure for yourself. So instead of going, I'm going to work on my SEO, you're going to have a step-by-step process to complete that priority. So you've got to really understand what the priority is. So let's workshop it. What's the priority? What would you like to get done before your family comes home?
Oh, you're actually asking me a question. Okay. Well, there's a couple of things that I need to do. When I get off here, I'm going to
Yep.
edit this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put my little trailer into it. I'm going to do the intro. It's a procedure that I always follow.
I love that.
Yeah, and then I'll make a Spotify one, and I'll make an Apple one, and then I'm going to split the Spotify one into 5 parts for YouTube because it goes out every day at now 3 p.m. because I've done the research. My most viewers turn up at 3 p.m. Australian time, not 9 p.m., which I had. So I'm adjusting. I'm willing to
Yep.
learn, and I'm willing to adapt to meet the needs. Right. Then after that, I'm going to go and finish off the spa bit that I mentioned before because I want my cold water because I'm trying to get my morning routine back to, and I've got all the chemicals I want to put in. We're going off
Yeah.
topic here, but I love it. And then I want to come back, and I'm going to finish off Dr. Schaefer's episode that launches next week. It's already published, but I want to do the SEO on it.
Yep.
And then I'm going to do her daughters, because I've published her daughter, I've interviewed her daughter for the week after. And then the week after that is David, and I'm going to do his SEO work. So all the SEO work for the episodes in the future are done, right?
Okay.
Then I'm going to go back and work from the beginning from April.
Yeah. So it
Sorry,
sounds like
that was it.
you've got a really good system with the whole process after you've completed a podcast, right? With the whole splitting Spotify, Apple, blah, 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 your trailer. Yep. So that's a process. So you need to now create a process for when you do your SEO. So you actually have like a step-by-step process and think, okay, well, once I do this process for one YouTube video, I'm going to go do something else. Go wake your brain up, go do some push-ups, go to have your ice bath, go read for 10 minutes, do something different, then come back. That's going to help with your focus. You're not going to procrastinate as much, because generally we procrastinate because we don't actually really know what we're doing. That's why an SOP or system operating procedure works really well, and actually having a specific KPI, so key performance indicator, meaning a specific end to the outcome. And then your brain actually understands how much longer you've got left and how long it's going to take you. If you don't know how long something's going to take you, you're definitely going to procrastinate, look on your phone and wander around. You'll get tired, you're not focused. And that's personally what I think would help.
Yeah, no, I love it. Great piece of advice. And on that note, I'm glad I brought it up. Guys, go and buy the book. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll get all the links from you afterwards, Hol, and we'll put them in, and people can go and buy this book. I already know somebody who's interested in your book, by the way, because I was telling them about it. Anyway, back to you. I feel guilty because you sent me this for free. I want to contribute to this stuff, just so you know.
It's my gift to you.
When you come to Melbourne, I'll take you to dinner. All right?
Oh, love to have dinner with you. I love Melbourne.
Good. Well, me and you, I'll bring it up. You are connected to my good friend Karim. He's become a bit of a brother to mine.
He's in
to
Melbourne.
Me. And I'm bringing Riverside to Melbourne, hopefully November, December. So if you want to come, I don't know, come along. Me and Karim's helping me with the business.
Yeah, because I was supposed to meet up with my mastermind in early December, but I'm going to be in Fraser Island with my family. So unfortunately, otherwise we would have been able to catch up. But it's funny, me and Karim are accountability partners. We talk every Monday for our own accountability, like for our own game plans. So I love Karim. He's awesome.
Yeah, he keeps looking out for me. I'm like, no, yeah, but I want to bring you the business too. If you're going to help me with the location of bringing Riverside, he said, no, it's all about you. I'm like, no, I will bring people for you. So he's going to hypnotize people, all the podcasters and stuff. So
that's so cool.
Anyway, you never know. It might be January or February because we're the lady at Riverside's having a baby, so we're delaying it. Anyway, we're going off, and I kind of love it. Back to you. Your chronic stress. The point of the opening the business is, I think you're a late teen at this point. Body started to break down. Break that up again, and it was that down to, do you think that was down to chronic stress? Do you think that was down to just not being happy and fulfilling your own purpose in life?
Yeah, well, firstly I remember driving from my second or first job in the morning at 5 o'clock it was probably like 6 o'clock from my first job, and I was so exhausted. And I slept for 4 hours that night before, and I remember just driving, going, thank myself for this one day. I'm going to thank myself for this one day. Everything's going to work out. I remember just saying that to myself. And yes, it taught me discipline. It taught me resilience. But it also taught me how to get burnt out. So I think I believe that, your muscles hold emotion, right? So 100%. For example, shoulders are sore. It feels like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. If you've got lower back issues, it's generally money problems. So I kind of believe in all that. And if I think about it, my knees had so much inflammation in them. They were so sore from sitting down and walking and just not resting, right? I was working from 4 o'clock in the morning till 5 p.m. and then I would go to the gym and then, sometimes, work later, and then I'd get home, have dinner and do it all again the next day. And I got so burnt out that literally my hips, my lower back, everything gave way, and I got out the car and literally my disc. I actually have a bulging disc from being burnt out. So my
Yeah.
lower back will never be the same again because of my choices.
Yeah, wow. It just shows you, doesn't it? When chronic stress, I mean, healthy stress, I think it's called eustress. EU stress is good healthy stress. We need to put our body through uncomfortable times. That's why I do the cold exposure, because we've invented heating, and we make ourselves comfortable. And when we go to comfortability, that's for me what Gary Brecker talks about. I don't know if you know him, the human biologist. He talks about acceleration of death when we get too comfortable, and I make myself uncomfortable to just stress the body out in a good way. So you stress, but chronic stress really puts a lot into our organs, doesn't it? And my example of that is when I left this is the part I don't go into detail in public because it's quite a small area around here, and I don't want to hurt anybody because I'm sure they've got their side of the story too. But went through kind of not bullying. This is separate to the bullying of 9 years ago, but it was just a not a great environment to be in every day, and with the added past trauma, because I don't feel like I'd fully navigated in coming out, taking the traumatic experience out of the trauma. 2 months after leaving a particular place, I was in hospital. My gallbladder had pretty much given up, and sepsis had set in, and I was 20 minutes away from being in a coma. And my partner got the phone call to say, tonight's not going to be good. Prepare for the worst.
My
Um,
gosh.
yeah, and um, so that was in my list on LinkedIn. That was the last one before leading our own way, and that's why I bought the domain names and started nurturing leadership. And but I knew I wasn't ready to launch it. Right, I wasn't there. Like you, like where I connect with you is your book. You weren't ready to write it yet, but you had the idea there. It's the same for me. I had the idea there, bought the domain. I actually forgot it. I forgot that I'd ever done it, and I knew I needed to go and work on myself, and that's why I changed my food and nutrition value and all of that. I went into a dark space where I had suicidal thoughts. That's the part that we've missed out on. You said you had suicidal thoughts. How old were you then when you experienced that?
Well, not that it's funny, but I just think as I don't even know how old I was, maybe 8 or 10 years old. I remember being so upset about something and just hating my life.
Mm,
Probably again linked back to my parents.
yeah,
Not them, but just the beliefs and everything. And I remember, yeah, I was shutting the gate. I was like, because we live in acreage, I was like, got out, shut the gate, and I was just like crying. I was so upset. And I remember it must be a long time ago. Honestly, I think I was 8 or 10. And I remember yelling to my mum saying I didn't want to live anymore.
wow,
And well, I guess by the grace of God, I'm still alive. Um, but yeah, she just didn't do anything. You know what I
wow,
mean? Yeah, she didn't
yeah,
do anything. Like, she didn't help me. She didn't ask if I was okay. But that's how she was brought up. Didn't get me into counseling. Like, I was there to kind of like, I didn't have the emotional support that I needed. So I figured it out on my own. And I think a lot of the time I always would look for external validation. And even now, like I said, that's still like a belief in me that, you know, like any time where I'm not in alignment or spending time with God or, just worrying about things that don't really matter, I know that not I'm looking for validation all over again, and that brings me back to my old belief systems. So I think then the next time was I had a massive argument with my dad, and I won't get into it because I don't want to expose him too much, but
yeah. Of
um,
course.
yeah. Anyway, so I remember just like feeling a lot of other mental health things happened as well. I won't go into that either, but
Hmm.
yeah, I remember getting a bus from the Gold Coast all the way back, like a 2.5 hour. Oh no, it was like a 4 hour drive back to my mum's house in a bus because I didn't have I don't think I had my license then, and I was just like crying the whole way home. And anyway, yeah, and that was another really deep, dark part.
Hmm. So you
So
wanted to kill yourself at that point as well?
yeah, I generally every single day I just would wish that a car or a bus would take me out so I didn't have to do it myself. Um, I just hated being alive, honestly. I think what I really wanted, I wanted someone to just be emotionally there for me, honestly, and I didn't have that growing up.
So how did you've answered this a few times, but maybe it's different for this. How did you pull yourself from those suicidal thoughts then and just not wanting to be here anymore?
Honestly, I started writing to God every single day in my journal. So every single day I would write to him and lean on
Yeah.
him for my emotional support. Um, and my horses was my outlet.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I don't know if I'd be alive today.
If it wasn't for them.
Mm.
Yeah, amazing. That's powerful stuff. And did so have you always grown up with God in your heart?
Um, yes. So my mum grew up. Oh, but she didn't grow up Christian really at all. Like no one in my family really is religious. Like maybe they believe something, but my mum got saved as a Christian when she was in, I think maybe 20s or 30s. But my mum has had a crazy story. She's got some crazy stories. And yeah, like just things like miracle stories. Like she has
Wow.
seen miracles. I remember, here's a few of them. Like she's seen people like who haven't been able to hear and deaf, like literally on the spot be healed and can hear she's seen someone's arm grow back. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, God is good. And she was in a
She's
house that
seen an
burnt
arm
down.
grow back.
Yeah. And even
How?
healing. One of my someone else I know, they just like kept praying, and um, what happened? She had like this massive like disease on her hand, and it literally just went away, and it was just a miracle. And anyway, and she was in a house that burnt down, and the only thing that didn't burn, everything was burnt to a crisp except the Bible. So these are just miracles that happen. Anyway, so thank goodness for my mum, otherwise I wouldn't know who God really is.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we went to church and, I was part of that community, which was amazing, so good. And then when my horses stepped in, kind of draw us away from church because it was competing Saturday, Sunday, every weekend for years. And then yeah, got back into church again, and then that's it really. And then I think with a relationship with a higher power, it's a relationship. Like with being a Christian, it's not about showing up and going to church and doing good every single day and this or that. It's about having a relationship with a higher power. And yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people have a really false belief about what Christianity really is.
Hmm. Wow, that's fascinating stuff. It sounds like I've got many family affairs on this podcast. It sounds like I probably should have your mum on the podcast too. With so you were young. You were in your year. How old are you now, Hol?
I'm 24.
You had to think about that then.
Yeah, I think I'm 25. I don't know. I actually feel my soul is a lot older than it
Yeah,
is. It feels that way.
you've got such a mature head on you. To be fair, and do you ever encounter that on your day-to-day basis where people come to you and go, "Hold on a second, you're 24. I own this $1 million business. How can you help me?"
I
Do you
don't
ever
tell
get that?
people my age, to be honest. This is the
You
first
don't
time
need
I've
to because
actually
they
said
probably
one.
assume. Yeah, they probably assume you're older, right? Because of what you do.
Yeah, it's interesting
It's
because
out now, though, Holly. It's out. It's out on the. It's out on the podcast.
I honestly don't really care.
That's good. That's
I
good.
am who I am, and I'm good at what I do because it's a gift, not because I just worked hard at it. And that's why
You
I run
did
this
work hard.
business. Thank you.
You know you did work hard. You've got to give yourself credit also, as well as the gift. But you've got to
No,
give
I
yourself
work
credit
so
for what you.
hard. I definitely
You
know.
do.
I work so hard, but it's easier to work hard when you enjoy what you do.
It's not working, is it? Then
No, it's not actually.
love
I
it.
love that.
Okay. So I do have one question. Actually, I wrote it up here. What are your happy values?
My happy values. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my top 4 values are connection, fast action, which is one of the habits in my book. Probably all these are in my book actually. Accountability and authenticity. So
Yes.
values are something that I guess are again built up almost like our belief systems, but that if we understand and know our true value, and what they hold, and meaning what makes your values different from everyone else. Like they shouldn't just be like, integrity should just be standard in today's society. So how does that make you different than everyone else?
Yeah.
Accountability, not everyone knows how to hold themselves accountable. That makes my business and me different. Okay. And it's the same with everything. So if you start living by your values, and I'll give you an example in a second, then you are going to be a lot happier. One of my clients, he was like, Holly, for some reason, I'm just not, I'm not feeling that happy at the moment, blah, blah, blah. Went through it, and we realized that he wasn't hitting two of his top values, which was connection and creativity. And he realized that he wasn't connecting with people on a daily basis, and he wasn't putting himself in a creative flow, which actually blocked his happiness because that's part of who he is and his values. So I held him accountable every day to play his guitar and to connect with at least a few people, talk to them on the phone or in person. And he did that every single day for months, and happier, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree, because I'm going to share my values, my
Yeah.
4 C's of contentment.
Yeah.
I did get this from somewhere, but I completely 100% align with it. Four C's of contentment. First one is connection. I'm very much a connection person, but since moving to Australia, I feel like I've a little bit been crucified. It happened in England a little bit, I suppose, but I'm a talkative guy. I have friends who won't answer the phone because they'll think they'll be on the phone for hours. Does that hurt? Yes, but I'm not going to change because I'm a big boy. You can say, look, I need to go now, Andy. It's okay. Right. But connection, I like to talk. I love to be around
Yeah.
people. You probably can tell. But connection is my first and foremost. Second one is contribute, give to the world. And I think this is what the podcast is. Teaching did bring that into it, but I feel like I'm going around that now. I think the podcast is the point of contribution to the world. And if obviously can do it differently with its books or speeches or motivational chats, whatever. Third C is cope. Within cope, it would be sleep, mindfulness, and nutrition. So food. Sorry, no, sleep, mindfulness, exercise. Sorry,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
the fourth C would be cook. So, and this is where I kind of wanted to go into your day 5 with nutrition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where did nutrition play a part? Where did nutrition play a part in your story? You could tell probably where from mine with my gallbladder. I was just
Yeah.
eating shit every night. I was drinking Coca-Cola every night to fill in gaps of the darkness that I experience on a day-to-day basis, going to bed at 1 o'clock because I didn't want tomorrow to come. And that's where
Yeah.
my nutrition shite came in. Where does it
Yeah.
come in for you?
Makes you realize how you really are what you eat.
Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.